I bet you want my bacon sandwich.
Bacon sandwich.
You're not getting my bacon sandwich. It's bread and bacon.
What else do you need?
Not a thing.
Now we're live.
Now we're live. Mr. Francisco's in the house.
Good morning, Ian. Good morning, Francisco.
Ian's in the house.
Ian, well, he was. I think he still is. Well, he was a minute ago anyway. Hang on, I'll tell you if he still is.
I don't see him.
I'm yawning like crazy all of a sudden. I woke up about. Yeah, he's still here somewhere. He may not be. He may be working or something. It's his weather. Francisco's weather's cloudy and 50. That's a heat wave, regular heat wave.
I thought. Now, where's Francisco live?
Well, I thought California, but I could be wrong.
I thought so too.
Good morning, Julie McCowan, and welcome. I hope you're having a pleasant Thanksgiving weekend or holiday. Yeah, he's here, Ian. Look at that. At least I assume that's who he's talking about. What was I getting ready to say? Now I had a comment. Now I lost that train of thought. Oh, I talked to Kent Maiden yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and he said they had 4 or 5 inches of snow yesterday. I think it was supposed to snow there all night last night. Buddy, I don't know what if they hung you up on a scale lately, but you look to me like you've lost weight.
I've lost 23 pounds since the 8th of whatever the heck month we're in, November.
20. Julie says she is cooking Thanksgiving today because family worked on Thursday. That happens.
Back to fighting weight, man.
Yeah, fighting weight. Ian said they got their first snow. Jason Thibodeau, good morning, sir. Now, Jason, you're in warmer climes, I believe. I'm not sure if he's in Florida where Jason's at, but even down there, it's a little chilly today.
With a name like Thibodeau?
Well, I know
he got to be in Louisiana.
Well, or at least connected, anyway. My daughter and my son-in-law from Louisiana. He's from Louisiana. He's Terrio.
Oh, he's a Terrio.
Terrio.
I know a lot of Thibodeaus too.
He brought
and some Boudreaux.
Oh, Julie says they're supposed to get 7 inches.
I don't know how we're supposed to snow today, but I don't know how much we're supposed to get.
Jason is south of Louisiana, Assumption Parish.
Oh, cool.
Well,
I love the fact that there's a state of the union that uses parish instead of county.
What other unique names are used for geographical areas of individual governments and within the state boundaries? Parishes?
I don't think we got any. Oh, you mean?
Well, you got parishes, and then you got counties, you got parish. I was thinking there was a couple other ones. Boroughs, yeah, boroughs. Yeah, there may be, and I'm not sure, but townships maybe. Well, now Ohio has counties, but they also have townships within the counties, I think.
Yeah, but so does every other state. You just may not have a government level base off
Well,
of,
maybe, yeah, but we don't call them townships here.
and I don't know if they do it all over the state or just in the rural parts of the state, but townships in Ohio, for instance, where my granddad was a township trustee forever, which meant you hang on.
Don't hang on.
Michigan has townships. I don't think we have townships around here. We have other groups, small areas within counties, cities. I'm trying to think what else we call them.
See, now the whole country's laid out in the township system.
Well, maybe so, but we don't use the term here. They don't call it.
And some people, if you go look at any topographic map, remember them? They're made out of paper.
Yeah, I got a whole stack of them.
You can roll them up and stick them in your backpack or whatever.
Uh-huh. I got a whole bunch of them. I love them.
And then they got to where that you could laminate them. But the entire nation is broken up by townships, which is a unit of location. You got township one way and range the other.
Yeah, but in Ohio, you actually have signs that say township along
They
the road.
they have a whole government level that's at the township.
Right.
And like I said, my grandpa was the township trustee for, I think, Hamilton Township in Jackson County. And which meant that he took care of almost all the roads were gravel or dirt at that time. He took care of all the dirt or all the road maintenance and bush hogging alongside the road to keep the jungle at bay. And
he did that work himself. He didn't just hire it out, right?
Yeah, you didn't have a hired man. And
I meant our other.
And his youngest son has been the township trustee now since probably the early 80s. And he's still out there in the summertime replacing culverts and bush hogging and
that's a lot of work. Dude.
Getting into bees.
Is that what's his name?
Randy.
Randy. Ian wants to know if anybody has tapioca maps. Only in Colorado, Ian. From what I've heard. Speaking of topographic maps, did you know that during World War II, that TVA made most of the maps for the war in Europe?
I did not.
I did not know that either till I worked there and read about it. Yeah, they were involved in that because if you look at the bottom of almost every topo map that I've ever seen in this country, it says somewhere on there, it's got the words TVA written on it, or the letters.
Huh.
Because they were involved with standardizing that map making system, program, whatever, so that they were standardized and they were all the same. But yeah, in World War II, that TVA, there were people over there actually, I guess it worked for TVA that were over there doing missions to get map information and aerial stuff and sneaking around stuff, I think, and putting it down on topographic maps for the military. Because we didn't have maps much over there before the war, and that's pretty important. Again, those were the paper kind now, not the kind you can put in your pocket like a cell phone. They're supposed to be, according to Ryan Hall, I was watching Ryan Hall yesterday, there's supposed to be quite a bit of snow on that upper tier of states, I think, from Wisconsin, Michigan. Don't know if it was getting over to New York or not.
Well, they need the moisture.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, I think we've seen our last day over 30 for a long time, as far out as I could find forecasted. And mostly it's like way colder than that. But
yeah, but it's that dry cold. It's not.
Yeah, it won't bother you.
Dry cold.
Dry cold. It
Well, the end. That's what you're supposed to do with paper maps. You stuff them in your pocket. You pull them out and look at them. You find you point. You hunker sometimes on the ground and lay it out and point with sticks. And you figure out where you got to go, and you say, "This, look up here. There's a saddle. I think if you hunted up here, this would be a good place to lay and wait at night." And then you fold it back up and you put it back in your pocket. I have all kinds of maps. I still have books of maps and topo maps for all kinds, probably Middle Tennessee, and because everywhere I've ever gone and hunted, I've always bought the maps to go with it. Good morning, Miss Carol. Welcome in, and happy Thanksgiving to you. I don't know if you caught this or not, but we have a special guest today. Hoods of sidecars were good places to put. Well, now I never thought of that. Ian, that sounds like a story. Well, he'll be right back, Carol. He had to get up and step away. I don't know if he was being summoned or if he had to go get something. But I know he'd be glad to hear you say welcome back, because he was glad to be back. And I didn't know till this morning if he was going to be able to feel like coming or not. So it was a good surprise for me too. I drove a motorcycle from when I was 1. Oh, okay. Well, now that's interesting. Then we'll have to talk sidecars sometime. I've never ridden in one or ridden. I mean, I've put a lot of miles on 2 wheels, but never had a sidecar. But I knew we had a buddy I worked with in Nashville who was. In fact, I just reconnected with him recently, but he always had BMWs, and at least one occasion he was building a fancy sidecar. And by fancy, I mean the Europeans take their sidecars more seriously than we did over here. And he was building one that was called an EML, and it was by Dutch. It was a Dutch design, and it was basically built like a racing sidecar, and so it handled better. Most sidecars handle kind of funky if you don't know what you're doing, and it takes a little bit. They're almost backwards from a 2-wheel motorcycle because of the way they're balanced. Miss Carol wanted to welcome you back, Mark. You just missed her. You just got up.
Did she leave?
No, she's still here, I'm sure. But if you look up in the chat there, line or two, she said welcome back.
Well, thank you.
And then
it's been kind of a long month.
Ian was just telling me that his dad, he grew up riding around in sidecars, And that sidecar hoods were a good place to unfold a topo map and look at it.
I can't even think about sidecars without two references. One has Steve McQueen in it.
And the other one has Barney Fife in it.
Yeah, the other one has Barney Fife. That's exactly right.
Barney Fife had a sidecar that carried Blackjack Percy across the same.
I'm turning myself.
Dog attack. What were they attached to, Ian? What kind of box was he riding that he was using sidecars on?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's another good reference.
That's another good
one. Barney Fife was the one that had Blackjack Percy and rode across the Seine River, the Seine.
With Opie's wood burning set.
Yeah, well, now, that just happened to be how it was done.
It was the first motorcycle to cross the Marne, I think.
Yeah, the Marne. That's what I was saying, the Marne.
And it was, and Blackjack Percy was riding in the sidecar.
Yes, he was. So Barney had.
Hold on, I'm gonna have another dog fight.
My goodness, somebody's not happy. Gold wings, okay. I saw a gold wing with a sidecar on it not long ago. And if you ever seen any World War II footage, or the Germans used sidecars a lot. Motorcycles and sidecars were their Jeep. In fact, our Jeep was sort of put to counter that. But the ones they had after the war was over, or as the Russians moved into the eastern part of Germany, the factory where those were built, they captured all the tooling and actually literally took it all further east so they could, and they kept it. And years later, they started making motorcycles on that tooling and sidecars, and they looked just like a 1937 BMW German service vehicle, and the sidecars were there. They were called. Well, actually, there's two. There's one called a Nepper, or that's not. And that's how we called them, but there's really another name for them. One's a Ural, and they're both the same, and they both look like they rolled out of, like I said, 1942 or something. And when they were built on that same tooling for a long time. I have a couple of friends that had those over the years, but I never messed with them. That had an R12. Went to Turkey during the war. Cool. So who was trying to eat up there?
Well, we've had family here for days, and we've got dogs and extra dogs, and fighting was going on, and there's 8 of them. So
yeah, that sounded more like a fight than just a
that was a good old fashioned. Boudreaux Campbell was underneath everybody.
Yeah,
and he was about 3 times bigger than normal. Every hair on his body was, and he was ripping and tearing. which is dangerous for human beings, small human beings to be around. So,
I'd say so. I'd say
and
he's.
everybody was standing there with their nursing their thumb.
I'd
I'm
say
like,
he's probably.
get in there and square them away now.
Boudreaux could probably put the chomp on somebody, I suspect.
And his head's big enough. He could, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I was thinking.
he bit you for real. You'd know you'd been bit for real.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's got that. He's got the jaws for it. He looks like he can bite you.
So he's been ostracized to the
No, poor
upstairs.
Boudreaux.
He's the one that always gets ostracism. He don't always start it,
But
he's slow to let it go.
He's slow to let go. He don't always start it, but he makes sure he finishes.
Yep. Which is funny because I have real size dogs here too. That
Yeah, but Boudreaux's
I've seen him tangle with them and like not him come out just fine on the other end.
He's a badger dog, man.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he ain't afraid of nothing.
I was reading an article that was written like I don't remember what year, early 1800s, I think, about badger baiting in England. The hoity-toities would get together with a bunch of dachshunds, like 100 of them, and they would literally go catch a badger and stick it in a kind of a modified Havahart trap and cover it up with logs, put it like in a beaver lodge.
Oh yeah,
and then turn them dogs loose.
Just drive them crazy.
And no, and then they'd dig that badger out of there and wool it around, and try to kill it, and they'd get the badger back from the dogs and put him right back in the cage and do it again. Most cruel thing I ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if I got some badgers, I would like you to played with in your badger baiting. You reach down to grab them, they're not going to offer you tea and crumpets.
No, they're not. That's what I was talking about, Ian. I was talking about the Urals and the other one was I had a friend that he called it a Nepper or a Neeper. They built those in, I guess, somewhere in the Ukrainian part of the world. Wherever the Dnieper or Dnieper River is. They were built somewhere in that area, but they were just almost exactly the same thing as a Ural. And
Diane said it's time out for Boudreaux.
Time out for that's Ian. That's Ian's new logo.
That is Ian.
Yeah. I thought
it's definitely time out because somebody's gonna get hurt.
Well, how's that? Well, wait a minute. How's that saying go? There's a saying around here about that, about somebody gonna get hurt. Maybe I'm thinking about one of us
got to have some
relief. That's what I'm thinking.
You're tough. You knock him out, John.
Yeah,
it won't be long.
I'm talking Jerry Clower.
It won't be long.
Well, that's cool, Ian. I did not know that. We never talked about that before. That's interesting. That
is very cool.
Sidecar. I mean, I think sidecars are neat. Like I said, I've never ridden one. I just know that I knew some guys that were starting to ride them because when they started importing Urals again, Ian, you probably know this, in probably the 80s, maybe they started bringing them over here from East Germany or somewhere in Germany. They were built in East Germany. Some of them were no Ural Mountains. That's where they got the name. But they when the walls came down and all that in the 80s, they started bringing them over here again, and they were built. I may make sure I say this right. They were actually built and licensed as like 1947 model motorcycles, but they were brand new. And I knew a couple guys that rode one. I know a guy unfortunately got killed on one, and most of the guys I knew that rode them said they were afraid that he had maybe gotten in a little over his head before he was skilled enough, because they just don't act like it. They just drive different than a two-wheeler. They instead of leaning in, you kind of got to you steer them more like a car in some ways. I mean, the inputs are like that. On a car, you want to go left, you turn the wheel left. On a motorcycle, you push one, you're actually pushing and pulling the handlebars the opposite direction of what you think. But when you put that third wheel on there, out on the side, it makes a difference. That's why they tried to, well, part why they.
That's why they banned three-wheelers.
Well, yeah. Originally, you're right. The ATV ones, because they did not turn like you thought.
They when you stuck your little old footsie out there to like make your curve,
they would run right up your
they
leg.
would run up to your back leg, and jerk you right out of the saddle.
And I've been there, done that. I learned that the hard way.
I did that right behind Brad Zorns's house. Sucked me right off, and it happened so fast. I was like, and I lost. I had moccasins on it, and I literally lost a moccasin. I never did find it. I don't know where it went.
I don't doubt that. It chewed it up, made it. First time I ever got on one of those things, I was living in Florida. That's when I lived in Florida, and I went home with my roommate one weekend, and we were out there playing in his yard. They had a couple of three-wheelers, and I'd never been on one. They were still pretty new then, and he said, "Now you got to watch it." I said, "Well, I've been riding motorcycles for years." He said, they don't act like that. So I learned, and I did that. The first thing I did was I went around a little corner and I laid my foot down a little bit on the side, thinking I was going to lean, and it didn't lean, and that thing ran right up the back of my leg, and she just, like you said, jerked you right off the seat.
Just pulled you right out of the seat.
They were tricksy.
I was catching the weather.
Ian said you just had to
I was catching the weather before. He said, on the statue.
that's what I've heard too. If you turn right too quick, you don't have the weight right. It's not a good thing. And then if you turn, I guess you, what do they call flying the sidecar? When if you got up too fast or you did something and you went left, the sidecar came up off the ground. And I've heard that referred to as flying the sidecar. But I tell you what, if you want to see something exciting, because like I said, Europeans they still think sidecars are great. They use them, they race them. And if you've ever seen the Isle of Man TT, they race sidecars. Those things fly. Talking 600cc motorcycles. That's what they've limited them to now for the class, and they just burn up those mountain roads over there. It's amazing. And they call the guy that rides in the sidecar, they call him the monkey, and he is not sitting in there. He is all over that thing, leaning, shifting his weight. One side hanging out the back, hanging off the side. They even race dirt bike sidecars.
Really?
I wouldn't really call them a sidecar. It's more like a side frame. But it's they race them in the dirt, motocross. They actually race motocross classes with the side hack. And a lot of those things were 3-wheel drive too, or 2-wheel drive rather. Those rear tires drive, the sidecar tire drives, spins, and the back tire on the motorcycle spins. So you got it's not really what I'd call a 4-wheel drive, but
The original 4-wheel
it
drive.
was kind of the original 4-wheel drive. Yeah, haven't lived too long. My dad had the buddy that had a CBA. Oh, really? CBR.
Come to the living room and you'll have breakfast. Okay. Lego Man wants to eat too.
So he had a sidecar on a CBX, and he rode it, and he got the. That'd be interesting. Hung out with some of those sidecar racers. They're not riding ahead. No, I've wondered about that myself, Ian. Not riding ahead. That's indeed correct. They're a different.
We've been a bad influence on Ian.
Maybe. They're different.
He wasn't right in the head.
So my oldest was over here yesterday. I was going to show you something I got and see if I can do this. I was looking at it before the show started.
Did she bring you some kind of cool book?
No, not Mo. I'm getting them today. My youngest one's supposed to bring it to me today. So it's going to happen, but it's going to happen later on this afternoon. I was going to see if I could find it though. One of them, I've got a couple, but one of them is a really cool book. I got to remember how to pull this up. Since it's a past auction, so it doesn't come up the same way as it used to. As it did when it's new. Where does it show what I bid on? Past bids right here. Okay, found it. This book right here. Let's see how big I can make it. All right, now let me see if I can actually make it show up on the screen. This book is titled The Long Trail, and it was written by Kermit Roosevelt of the Theodore Roosevelt family, his son, one of his sons. Kermit is the one who traveled with him to Africa and a few other places several times on some of his trips, and he's the one that was with him on the River of Doubt when they almost didn't come out alive.
And South America.
In South America, and Kermit also went on an expedition that was sponsored by someone else, to where they were looking for to prove that the giant panda actually existed, that there actually was a creature named that the giant panda was real, not just made up. And they searched in the Himalayas till they found one, I guess, and then they caught a lot of crap because they shot it. I guess they shot one to bring back for proof, which was kind of the standard practice back then. That wasn't unusual. John James Audubon drew lots of beautiful pictures of birds, but he brought hundreds of them home in a game bag, so he could lay them out and draw them on his table. But anyway, this one was about this. Kermit wrote this, and this is about some of the stuff he did with his dad in Africa. What's cool about this, say something if you can read that. It says The Long Trail by Kermit Roosevelt, autographed edition.
Oh, cool.
Autographed edition. Let that sink in just for a minute while we maybe have a word of prayer to what the significance of that. Because I saw that I saw the autograph and I thought, I want that book, and I got it. Not that many people seemed interested in it. I don't know what I paid for it. Not a bad price. And then Jennifer said, well, you know that I said I was going to check the autograph just to make sure it was authentic. I said, I'd never seen it. She said, did you not read the cover of the book? And I said, well, I'm sure I did, but I don't remember. She said, it is an official autographed edition. It was printed and sold for this purpose. And right there in the front cover is Kermit Roosevelt's, in his own hand, his name.
That is so
Kermit
cool.
Roosevelt, buddy. I got a Kermit Roosevelt signed book in my
Well,
library.
you know his son, Kermit Jr., I think it was Kermit Jr. I know it was Kermit's boy, but I don't know if it was maybe his grandson.
Well, there's a junior and a third.
He was in SEAL, the 6th class of Navy SEALs ever
really?
developed. Yep. And he was a SEAL in Vietnam.
Well, now there was a Kermit Jr. and then there was a Kermit the third. So his son.
It's probably the third then.
Yeah.
And then his son and the one that had been the SEAL went to Africa for this kid's first big game hunt. The kid was like 12 years old. He took him to somewhere in Tanganyika or somewhere, Tanzania, and they hunted buffalo, and he used his famous president's double rifle to kill that buffalo.
That was Kermit.
And it was Kermit's son.
Oh, Kermit's son. Okay.
And he wasn't Kermit.
Yeah, he had more than one. I just know there was a Kermit.
I remember that. I mean, they did a video. It's called "In the Blood," and I have a copy of the VHS tape, but nothing to play it in. So
I do. Bring it back east and let's watch it. Come back to the house and we'll watch. Kermit was kind of an interesting guy. Like I said, he was with his dad on that River of No Return, which was a South America trip, and Teddy almost died on that trip. Kermit fought in World War I, fought for a couple different armies. Before we got involved, he fought with the Brits. They were friends with Churchill. So during World War I, Churchill was the head of the Admiralty or whatever, and he helped him get a commission over there to fight with the Brits till we got involved. And then Kermit fought with the American Expeditionary Forces. And then he also fought in World War II. But did I see John? Yeah, hey, John.
hey, John.
Listen, Brenda, I didn't know if you noticed, but we have company. John, look who's here. And he there?
Who?
I thought it went quiet.
No, you were talking.
Yeah, I know, but on my end, it sounded like it went dead. Kermit was, and even in World War II, he fought for he was with the British first and then reassigned back to the U.S., but he was having some other issues and eventually, unfortunately, signed at a fort somewhere in Anchorage, Alaska. He shot himself, so he kind of came to a tragic end, which is kind of sad. Well, it is sad, but I'd forgotten about that till yesterday. And Jennifer and I were talking about the book, and she said, you do know that you know, he didn't he didn't end well. And I did, after you mentioned it, I remembered I'd read that before. But anyway, he did a lot of travels, and he did a lot of and he wrote several books or was involved in. But he and his brother, Kermit's brother Theodore, there was a Theodore Jr. and Kermit's brother Theodore and Kermit also wrote a book together. And it's a little confusing. I got to study up on this and figure this out. Whether it's the same book about the panda or if it's a separate book, but they wrote something. The book was called
Shooting the Last Giant Panda.
no, I had it here somewhere if I can just find it. There's Kermit.
Oh, but one day there was one in the back tree and one in the front.
Long Trails one I got here. East of the Sun and West of the Moon, the classic account of their hunting trip through Asia by Theodore and Kermit Roosevelt. But it's Theodore Jr. It's not Theodore the dad. Apparently he wasn't on that one. And then if you read about
Theodore the Jr. won the Congressional Medal of Honor at Utah Beach.
Yes.
With a cane in his hand. He had something gout or something, and he waded his boys ashore right in the front.
If the stories I've heard about that are true, he had to talk to whoever was making orders out for that event. He had to get him to approve for him to even go ashore because of that, and him being with a cane. I think he had arthritis.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
But anyway, they said, well, you know, the guy who, again, this was in a movie, but he said, well, you know, if I approve that, you're the former president's son. If you go ashore and you don't come back, he said, that's gonna be my fault because you shouldn't have been there. And he said, I'll sign a letter that says I absolve you of all. But so he did.
That's well illustrated in the movie The Longest Day, which
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Which most women refer to as the longest movie. It's like 3.5 hours. It's like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah, it's a long one, but it's a good one.
It's a great
one.
My
favorite movies about that sort of thing. They lots and lots of famous actors.
Sean Connery in it playing an Irish bagpiper.
Who?
Sean Connery.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll take another picture.
There's a lot of brand name stars of the day that are in that movie. Yeah, John, so many notable actors in there. I mean, the list is long. And did I say good morning to my wife, Brendan? I think I did.
I think you did earlier, but maybe not.
Did you get to see the fish John sent pictures of for you?
I'm so jealous.
Yes, John.
Those were beautiful fish.
He's apparently been catching quite a few of those, or was. I don't know if he fished this week, but
John, are those fish that you would is that a size of a striper that you would normally eat? Or are those just for looking through, catching and looking through and turning loose?
Oh,
those were beautiful fish.
Yeah, they can. You know how this works, but they have a slot. They have a slot size limit that they.
Oh, so it's a slot limit.
Yeah, I believe. John, correct me. I was gonna let you tell that, but Mark will understand what you're talking about.
Oh, they're too big.
Those were too big.
Yep. So they have to be between. That's kind of like redfish in Texas. If you get
Yeah.
down there, they've got a slot limit on redfish. But then they give you 2 tags on your fishing license that you can keep 2 redfish above the slot limit. And it's a
Oh,
length.
really?
Yeah. So you could, if you caught like 2 like 50 inchers one day, you could keep both of them if you tagged them. But then you'd be done. You could only catch fish within the slot after that.
If I'm reading that
Or
right,
keep fish.
John is saying that with a tag up there for stripes, you can bring home one per year of a 24 to 28 incher, which would be a smaller than the slot. If I'm saying that correctly. And he's talking to somebody.
Sorry, I muted you. My wife.
Did you hear what
My daughter is out in the front yard with a great big 30-pound porcupine on the ground right now.
told me there's been a porcupine hanging around?
We got 2 of them. We've got a male and a female. Very carefully is the answer.
Yeah, very carefully.
There, let's do some Jeopardy. But she's out, looks like with the big male, and he is flared out, and you can see all those big nasty quills on his back. So
What's that? How big is it? How much? We talking 20, 30 pounds or bigger?
probably a 30-pounder. He's a big one.
I know. That's what I meant. That'd be a big.
When we first bought this place, I don't know, however many years ago, we had a great big one in the tree right by the house, or he was at the base of the tree right by the house, and I named him Roscoe.
Roscoe.
My wife's like, well, you're not going to kill it, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I don't kill porcupines. And I took a garbage can, like a plastic garbage can,
Yeah.
the big ones, and just walked over to him and took a stick and rolled him into that bucket and took him down on the river in the willows and turned him loose. And I'm like, that's how you deal with a porcupine. She was like, I've never seen anything like that happen
No
before.
touchy.
Like it was like totally nonchalant.
Well, that's because you've done it before.
I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not like they're going to outrun you.
No, you're not gonna.
They're going to back their head. They're going to put their head in the corner of something, and they're going to flare out all those quills and dare you to come get them.
So John was saying if you get it early, you can get 1 extra tag if there's any available. So if you get your small fish early. John, let me ask you a question. When I first moved to Florida, and this was in the 70s, mid 70s, to fish in the ocean in Florida, you did not require a tag, a license of any sort. The state, this is what I was told by the locals anyway. The state regulated freshwater fishes, but they didn't have anything to do with the coastal fish, the saltwater, and you didn't need a license. And I mean, I went fishing quite a few times with locals, and they said, no, you don't. As long as we're out here, we don't need one. Of course, that could have been them, maybe not me, but
it's still that way. If you're far enough offshore.
Well, but I'm talking about just as long as you were in the ocean, you didn't need a license.
Oh yeah, they've changed that. I think
that's what I was going to ask John if he ever remembered it being that way in New Jersey, or if it's just always been a license. Now he brought up, but But see, he's tricked me here. He's brought up and he changed the subject on me. Said my first and only experience with a porcupine was in North Crow Reservoir. I quick walked away.
I darted a big old bull moose that was aggravating folks at North Crow Reservoir. You wouldn't imagine the change, John.
I'm not talking about. I know you might not know about the Florida wrecks, John, but I was just wondering if in the 70s or when you first started fishing, did you have to have a license to fish in the ocean in New Jersey? Because I didn't. Like I said, I didn't once. First off, I was surprised because I thought you had to have a license for any fishing. And then when I met locals that lived down there, they said, no, for the ocean, you don't need one. But that changed. Now you do. And I just wondered if Jersey had always had a requirement or if that's something. And when I say new, I mean the last 40, 50 years, mind you. But
it's only in inshore waters, which is, a band along
right
our country, that a license is needed from, a state like Texas or North Carolina or South Carolina. You got to have a license to fish in the ocean if you're within so many miles of land. And then beyond that, you're basically in
you're in
international waters, and there's nothing.
Well, John,
which is why they can just like come right up pretty close to our country and catch all the fish they want.
Don't we? I thought don't we have a 200-mile ban, or we used to, or they did that for a while. John was saying they have and then maybe you can tell me how it is where you in Texas, Mark, where you're red fishing. But he says in Jersey they have a saltwater registry. It's free. You don't have to pay for it or buy it, but it's needed, which I get. I'm sure it is. I mean, that's the same thing. That's
just part of your fishing license, regular fishing license. And then you have to get basically like a free stamp.
That's in Texas?
No, that's I was asking John if that's what he was referring to. We had to buy a inshore saltwater fishing license. If you wanted to fish for largemouth bass or something on the Pecos River, you had a fishing license. If you wanted to fish for redfish in the ocean along the coast, you had to have a inshore saltwater license.
And I know it.
Now I'm confused.
And there was a time period when the redfish and stuff were along the Gulf Coast were being fished so hard that the numbers were crashed, and they were really concerned about them. I think that's when some of that came about.
That's when slot limits came about.
When they started.
Here's a period of time where they're not as productive, so you can keep them, but you can't keep the rest of them.
John says they have freshwater license and trout stamps. We do too. We have trout stamps. As far as I know, trout stamps are a federal thing. But we're required to have, if we want to, I mean, you don't have to if you're not fishing for trout, fly fishing or anything. You don't have to have a trout stamp, or you're not fishing trout waters here because they're not everywhere. But we have state fishing license and then a trout stamp if you want to do that. I didn't grow up around saltwater, so when I learned about saltwater stuff, it was all news to me.
And cool.
And when I first, when I first moved down there, and that guy said, "Hey, if you want to fish for sharks here off the shore, you don't have to have a license." And I said, "Oh, cool." No, we did some of that kind of stuff, but we didn't have to have a license for that then.
Here, biggerize us for a minute.
Do what?
Make us big for just a second.
Okay.
See if I can show this.
And there's Jesus.
Porky.
Ain't he pretty?
Look at him sitting there posing. Look at that hairdo.
Yeah, he's got a roach like a.
Yes,
You know, that's some long guard hairs, and underneath all them pretty hairs,
he's pointy.
that's where Lucifer lives.
For the Lucifer.
Because underneath all that beautiful hair,
Oh, look, Dad. I was squatting out there taking pictures,
Porcupine version of the body hides.
and he walked right up to me.
I was kidding about recreating that. This is a wild
He
porcupine.
came up to me, Dad. I was sitting there. He walked up to me, and
That-
I stayed absolutely still. I did not try to touch him.
There's a picture of a gal at some zoo in the Northeast. I don't know if it was Pennsylvania or New York or somewhere up that way. And they have a porcupine, and there was a gal that was patting it on its head. You're not, good porcupine. And I joked with Caitlin last night and said, you need to go recreate that.
Look, see.
With
See, he just went away.
And she did.
She took a whole bunch of video, real cool. He came up literally right to her pants leg, sniffed of her, said, "You're not a porcupine," turned and walked away. But he's a big one.
That made me think of something I was just going to say. I was going to say, don't you say a word, because she's your daughter. And where do you think she got that?
Hang on. What? Don't I say a word?
You were saying don't. I didn't mean you had to go recreate that. You were saying something about warning her about. I said don't say a word. You would have been out there doing the same thing. So she got it from you, buddy.
I know it's a genetic trait that shouldn't be passed on.
My daughters would walk up to me and have a snake in their hand. They'd be like, "Look at this, what we found, Dad." And my mama, if we were at her house, she'd just die because she just knew that was going to get them in awful trouble. And she said, "They learned that from you." I said, "Well, I'm trying to teach them right, Mom." "No, you're going to get them bit. They're going to get bit because they're not going to know. And you're not going to be there
The
someday."
water snakes are crossing with the copperheads.
But anyway, so John won't know if that was a pet. I'd say, and pet is a cautionary word when it comes to porcupines.
She probably could have counted 2 at least on him.
Yeah.
But they are so fast. People, I mean, they look just lumbery and slow, and walking, they're pretty lumbery and slow. But when they need to swing that big old spiky tail and back around to protect themselves, man, they're like the mammalian version of the ankylosaur.
Oh yeah,
that dinosaur with the big club tail. They're kind of like that, or a stegosaur.
And no, they cannot shoot their quills. In case anybody's wondering, that's a myth.
But you sure think they shot him?
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't doubt that.
And so I haven't decided if that's Sam's spirit animal or his total nemesis. He got last year. I think it was on Christmas Eve. Penny got into a little bitty porcupine, had little tiny quills, and her mouth was full of them and all around her muzzle.
Oh man.
And Sam held her down while I you know, here, you can do it. I'll hold her down.
How older you do it?
And so I was plucking quills, and somehow one of those quills got into Sam's chin.
Oh,
Didn't really notice it. And, you know, at first they were tiny, just half-inch long at max, and real slender.
yeah, I was gonna say thin.
And and they're barbed, you know, and it worked its way up under his hide and went to work through his chin area, and that all got infected. He thought he had an infected hair in his beard, and that, and he did really, in a way. And that quill rooted itself around it. It ended up right underneath his cheekbone. And all of that blew up and got nasty. And they had to open him up and packet, shaved off his beard. Just, I mean, it was a while before he got healed up from that.
Were they able to find it and get it out?
Yeah, they found it, but it was still working. You know,
Here's a fun fact about those
but
things.
they're such a cool looking creature. I mean,
Oh,
look
they
at that.
are. They're neat.
Look at that thing. He's got those hairs on his head. They're just I really like them personally. My wife doesn't like them as much because they eat the bark off the willow trees, but they have as long as there's been a willow on this property.
Well,
So,
that's what they do.
which is thousands and thousands of years. So
And that's another thing about that. I was going to say that those hairs, as you're pointing out, our hair, the quills are beneath. They're a special type of hair, but they're underneath. They're underneath the other hair, and and so you kind of don't see them at first. But those quills, and I think they've talked about. First place I became really aware of how bad these could get was probably watching Dr. Pole, and because they always have several episodes a year where somebody brings their pit bull in, and he's got 10,000 quills up his snout. But they talked about making sure they got them all because they would migrate, and that's what you're talking about. The one that got Sammy's chin, they migrate under the skin. I guess that's because that quill, and they can move, and when they move, they catch again. And I guess if your skin moves and wrinkles and whatnot, they just move on up through there, which is just actually a scary thought. Because hi there, how are you?
say good morning. You're on TV.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
That is Crockett. I mean Boone's brother or sister.
That is Absorka Rose,
Orca.
or Abby Rose, they call her.
Yeah.
And that's Boone's little sister. Yeah.
I'm not sure we've ever had the pleasure of her presence on here.
I don't think so, but she became foot mobile here recently.
That makes all the difference.
And the daycare they go to, the daycare gal said, I thought Boone was going to be challenging to keep up with, and he has nothing on his little sister.
Well, let me see here while I'm thinking about it and on the subject. I got another book. I didn't get all the ones I wanted this time. There was a couple more that I really, really wanted. But I did get a couple of other cool ones. Let me see if I can pull one of them up here. This one. Oh, here's a couple that are kind of neat. I got these 3 books.
Brenda, I had nothing to do with any of these.
Well, maybe not.
I was hurt, dang it. I wasn't offering
I
books.
wasn't even around for this. He wasn't even here when this happened. These are some of these were in strange lots, and a couple of them I got and realized what they were after I got them. And there's some people might not appreciate these, but the middle book that's laying there is The Story of My Boyhood and Youth by John Muir.
Cool.
So I think that's going to be interesting. And then that top book was a really just a fluke thing. It is The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. And look, it's done by Helen Keller.
Why?
My goodness.
Just a minute. My phone's
And that one was a surprise. Is that Shauna? Hello, good morning, Shauna. If that's Shauna.
There ain't nobody. You're hearing things.
I may be hearing that. But I thought that was kind of cool to end up with. I mean, that's not necessarily the kind of book I go after, but then again, I thought that was kind of cool.
You need someone to keep an eye.
And that other one was by Pearl Buck, and the only reason I know what that was is I remember Mom and Dad had a copy of that on their bookshelf. Let's see, I did get, right here they are. Now, see, these were book mixed, and I just happened to see something in there, and I thought, what is that? And I looked at it, and I said, oh my, I need that, and I'd like to get that. A couple of these books I'll probably take down and donate somewhere, but there's a copy of Tobacco Road, which was interesting. They had a first edition copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, and I missed that. Like I said, some of these I don't know much about, and they're just mixed in with other books that I wanted. Like, well, for example, there's Thomas Wolfe, You Can't Go Home Again. Now, I've never read that book, but I know about it. But there's Tobacco Road, which I've heard about also, but never read. But this is the one that kind of caught my eye right here. But this one caught my eye right here, and I wanted it. This is The Spell of the Yukon and Other Verses by Robert W. Service. This is the first edition also. I don't think it's autographed or anything, but that's full of poetry and such things as that. So I'm kind of looking forward to getting my hands on that one. I may have to read some verses from that some Saturday. So that was a good catch, and I didn't really get many more. I think that was because a couple of them I got outbid on at the last minute and didn't. Yeah, that may actually be it. I won three groups, and that's what I got. So that was it. But still, I got a couple of winners in there, and I'm thrilled to have it. Yeah, Carol, my mom and dad had a copy of that also. That's why I recognized it when I saw it. Written by Pearl S. Buck. That name always stuck with me, so I knew who it was. And they may have had one other book maybe by her. I'm not positive. But anyway, I got the two I want. But they had a couple of first editions of Jack London called Wild Books, or Jack London. They had a first edition, maybe autographed Jack, called the Wild, that went for pretty good money. I didn't even try to bid on it. It was already outside my price range. And when I saw it, and then there was another copy of that went fairly high. It wasn't. It was like second printing of the first edition or something. Did I just do that? Wait a
I
minute.
don't even know what you're.
Oh, sorry. On my other screen, it suddenly went back to something we were looking at a minute ago. Never mind. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't have seen it.
What do you need, dog?
You see my? I don't think you saw my what I did for a marker or for a thumbnail today. Let me pull that up. Well, you might have, but
You're such a smart, you wanted me to play up there. Go downstairs and play by yourself. No, what did you say? I need somebody.
dang it. I got to fix that. Every time my computer shuts down, it shifts on me. I don't know if Mark saw this squirrel or not. I thought that was sort of an appropriate squirrel for a Thanksgiving. So, Carol, do you guys have? I don't know if you were here when I first mentioned this, but do you have snow? And maybe you answered it, and I don't know. I missed it, or maybe I mentioned it and I forgot already. Brenda said the porcupine had bedhead. Oh, maybe not the porcupine. Maybe talking about Abby Rose. Oh, did that look like pliers? Mark may be pulling. He may be removing quills even as we speak. A friend of mine talking to my one of my buddies that lives in northern Indiana. I don't know how far it is from you. It's right up against Michigan, but it's over on the western corner of from you versus where you're east. He's closer to the west, but they had snow this week, and I'd heard rumors that you guys were probably going to get some because I was watching the weather last night, and I think he's supposed to be getting quite a bit more where he's at. And then they were saying it was going to get over around Detroit, so I figured you might get some of that too. So did you see my squirrel, Thanksgiving Day squirrel?
Ah,
I'm making coffee.
looks like he'd have been a good one for the meal.
What?
For the meal.
He might have been, but in this case,
He looks like a big old fat squirrel.
He's working for us in this case, so he's not on the menu. And I don't think I put anything else in here. Nope, that's all I did. I tell you what really happened on things. I've still got a show in the can, and next week, if you fill up to it next week, we're going to talk about the copper culture in America.
So I haven't been doing it.
And all the cool copper weapons and blades and ornaments and things that they made that are even different from the ones we talked a little bit about the Mississippian culture. some of their stuff, but this is even different from that.
So we're going from aquaculture to the copper culture in one show.
You could say that. That's what they call it, the copper age in America, or the copper. It preceded it preceded the Bronze Age in Europe, they think, and it mostly, again, Carol, this is from your country. It mostly came out of your part of the world, or it was centered around the Great Lakes because that's where some of the richest copper deposits were. Pure copper, not just copper ore, but actual pure copper. So, and I'll bring that up next week, and we'll do that show. And there's all kinds of they discovered so many different neat things that they were making out of it that people for a long time didn't realize what they were finding. And they thought they were, I guess, from coming from somewhere else or something, and then they finally studied it and figured that out. We're due for 5 to 7 inches, she said snow was.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully it starts after the game ends. Are you going to the game, Carol? Or you just don't want it to be snowing while they're playing?
Mama,
That's today, isn't it?
No, and that's Ohio State, isn't it?
Mama.
I know some maiden aunts that are they've probably got snacks and all
I tell you,
kinds of stuff ready.
There's a lot.
There's 3 of them. One of them's already mad at the other one.
Is that because they don't agree about something, or is that because one of them don't pull from Ohio
Now,
State?
one of them is always mad at one of the other ones.
Oh, well, just cause. Okay.
And it's been that way my entire life, and I suspect theirs too.
Okay. I got you.
But then when the game comes on, they focus.
I still think that's the funniest. I think about that and I try to picture that in my mind. Your aunts, Sally and Jane, and I think about them getting that into a football game. That's just hilarious to me.
Well, I told you my grandmother, who was about the size of Mom when she was younger, she was heavier when she was my grandma. She was heavier than she used to be, but she was about the same size as my mother.
Yeah,
height wise and kind of looks wise and everything prior to me, before I was born, and she loved Cincinnati Redlegs baseball.
Oh yeah.
She never once called them the Reds. They were the Redlegs. And my grandfather would literally just leave the house. I got to go work in the barn or something, He'd just leave the house. He's like, she gets to screaming at that television, which was big as this wall right here, but the screen was about this big.
Yeah, right. There's a scene. There's an exhibit that's still at Walt Disney World Market. It was created for the 1964 World's Fair, and it was originally after the World's Fair. It was put in California, and then they moved it to Florida, and it's called Carousel of Progress. And it originally was about how things have changed in American, like electricity and car, over a series of generations, like 4 generations. And one of them, they actually have a scene where Grandma is sitting in her parlor room off to one side of the house, and the guy that's narrating and these are animatronic figures, the early ones. And she's telling them to be quiet. And she's sitting there in front of a TV with a screen about this big around. Oh, gotta go again. Nope, he's back. So anyway, she's sitting there in front of a TV with a screen about this big around watching wrestling, yelling at that screen. You know, hit him over the head, grab him around the neck. You know, that kind of wrestling.
Give him the chair. Give him the chair.
Hit him with a chair. But it's a TV like you're talking about. I mean, yeah, screen.
I'm not so sure my grandmother didn't watch that too, but she never missed Red's baseball ever.
Hey, Dave, welcome in. Dave's Disney Dreams have joined us there again. I guess he's probably ready for big
Oh,
Michigan.
that.
Mark, I need to send you a Michigan.
Carol, I would send you fundage for such an item so I could wear it the next time I'm back there.
That would be fun. Oh, we need to get it on film too when you walk in the door.
There is no way that any three that they might get me surrounded, but they can't catch me.
He still got them. He still can outrun them.
They used to be able to catch me, but not anymore.
There was some comment. There was something that made me think of something else. Had to do with that though. What was I going to say? That would be hilarious.
I'd still like to get them all four like a scorpions in a jar shape. Check it up and watch them fight.
Yeah. Have you seen there's a commercial, Caroline?
Hold on, that reminds me of one of Larson's jar. He had several jar involved. Let's put this with this, and it has the grizzly bear and the dude in the plaid shirt in a jar. You've mixed up the incompatible species again. Okay.
There's a commercial out for Nissan automobiles. They're running it in all the college games right now. It's that I've seen lately. And it's that bunch they've been running commercials for several years now that have to do with all the former Heisman Trophy winners all live in one big house like a frat fraternity, and they're all in there doing all their different things from their different universities. There's one now where I think it's the guy that was maybe Archie Griffith from Ohio State, and he's driving the car, and they're all going to a football game somewhere. And he comes up to the border of, he's kind of sweating and getting nervous, and he hits the border of Michigan, and he just stops. He can't go any further. And he says, "We're going to have to take a detour, boys." And they show a map, and he's got this big map where he's driving like all the way up and around Canada so we don't have to go to Michigan, get to Wisconsin or somewhere, wherever it is they're going. And I thought, wow, that's pretty funny. He seriously don't want to go to Michigan.
Are you ready for a big penguin? You have to go in the magic cup, though.
I heard some of that, but I didn't pick it all up.
What are you hearing?
Oh, Carol found whoever was talking there. Can I pull that up on my screen? I wonder, Carol. Hang on a minute. Let me close out what I got over here open in my way first. So, there he goes again. Okay, where'd it go, Carol? There. So, Mark, did I stop him? Did I cut everybody? There he is. When he gets back on here, I'm going to see if I can run that. Oh, I guess I'll have to, yeah, I'll have to do the screen thing. So let me get that prepared. You know, I learned a way, Carol, that I can actually embed that. If I do it if I do it here. While he's doing that, let me see if I can insert this. I need to get that. Insert video. Online. Paste. Insert. All right. Let's see if this is going to work. This might be able to hear the sound and everything. Yeah, there it is. When he gets back now, I'll be able to show this, and you guys should be able to hear it and everything until they shut me down or something. But why can't I get it off my screen here? Oh, what have I done? There's what I want. Well, there's what I thought I wanted. Now I made it go away again. Oh, this is ridiculous. Nobody should have this much trouble with anything like this. Especially somebody that's been doing it for a couple of years now. Well, I think I've got it. We'll see what happens here in a minute when Mark comes back. And if he's back and I'm somehow, there he is. Here's that commercial we were talking about. See if you can see this.
Going around. Wow. That's a 12-hour detour.
That's a 12-hour detour.
We're a guy's field.
That's a 12-hour detour. That's a serious problem there. Now let me see if I can close this out right now and get it back to where I'm supposed to be. That's a 12-hour detour.
You want some before I put them on?
That's somebody that seriously don't want to go to Michigan.
Just look.
So that could be like your aunt's, possibly. No, he's muted again.
I'm back.
You're back.
There's a lot of noise. I'm just muting when it gets too loud.
You'll have to ask your sister or your aunt sometime when you're up there if they'd like to take a road trip with you up to Michigan just to see what they say. I bet you they've seen that commercial though.
I bet they have
'Cause
to.
they run it, at least back here, they run it all the time during games. So is Wyoming playing this weekend?
I think they play today. We might even get to watch it. That'd be cool.
Today is rivalry games all over the place. Texas beat Texas A&M last night. Tennessee plays Vanderbilt today. The Egg Bowl was yesterday, and I think that stupid Lane Kiffin won that. But he's supposedly going to be going to LSU next year, they think. I just feel sorry for Cajuns. They don't deserve that. And the Iron Bowl is today, so that's Auburn and Alabama. I don't know if that'll be any good or not. The thing about these games on like this is even if you don't think they're going to be any good, most of the time when they play these, historically, when teams like Vanderbilt plays Tennessee, they went 30 years and never couldn't even score on Tennessee kind of thing. And now every once in a while they jump up there and just whoop them. And this year could be a whooping. They're pretty good this year. Kind of how it is in Alabama. Auburn and Alabama games are usually knock down, drag out. And I don't know this year. I don't know if Auburn's got any horsepower to do that. Georgia Tech, that was yesterday or day before. That was a pretty decent game. Close. And it probably shouldn't have been. Not enough sleep last night. It probably shouldn't have been close. Oh, nobody mentioned my Christmas tree. I forgot about that.
Well, look at there.
I got a Christmas tree up here this year. I haven't had one before. And
Is it a tree?
no, it's fake. That's what you mean.
Does it come preloaded?
Yeah, it came pre-lit. And I finally got me a little Christmas train set to put under it, which I've been wanting to do for years. Found that on eBay the other day.
You're gonna be like Gilhooly and Donovan's Reef.
And doing what?
You remember Donovan's Reef? John Lane, Donovan's
Yeah.
Reef, and Lee Marvin is his buddy Gilhooly.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
And Donovan gives Gilhooly his bar as a wedding present.
Right.
And a gal comes in and gives the bride to be a wedding dress and Gilhooly a big train set.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Okay.
He has it up on the bar. And every time it goes by, he's down leaning against the track almost and toot toot.
I don't think this one doesn't have any sounds or anything. I think it's just basic go round and round, but I can't wait to set it up. I just thought little trains have always fascinated me. I just can't help it.
Hi, buddy.
What was that? And there was something else I was gonna. There's something else about trains I was gonna bring up. Now I don't remember what it was. Oh well, last week we
They
talked about.
divided the bison herds.
Well, they did that. And made 3 or 4 men famous and rich.
Yep.
And I guess they're the ones that somebody in that group coined the term robber baron. At least that was during that time span. So I've been looking, buddy. I'm trying to find me a new squirrel gun. I can't. My eyes are not gonna let me hunt with open sights. I don't think anymore. I've shot mine out here to a target on the hill, and I can hit it and I can see my sights. But if I can see my sights, I can't see the target. And if I see the target, I can't see my sights. And so there's no way in heck I'm ever going to be able to see the sights and a squirrel's head. So my old 22 doesn't have a way to accept a scope. So
Hunt you up an old Marlin micro groove.
that's what I'd like. I would like mine having one. They bring most of those tend to bring big bucks now, though.
Well, that Sears and Roebucks was selling them.
There's the thought under a different name.
Under Sears and Roebuck, but they were Marlin micro grooves.
Yeah, what did they?
There's the one I have says, and if I was close enough, I'd just bring it to you. But it was also the first thing my dad ever financed. when he made $74 a month as a Lance Cooley in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
The very first thing he ever financed was that rifle.
Is that an automatic, semi-automatic, or both?
No, it's a bolt action. And tack driver. They're shooters.
That's actually the kind of thing.
That rifle shot a lot of squirrels.
I bet. That's I've been looking at them for months anyway, but I've started looking back again. There's some really nice old rifles that if they're not too special, you can pick up for a really decent price, less than you can buy a new one. And I'd rather have them. I'd rather have an old one, like an old tube-fed bolt action Remington, or there's a little Savage or Stevens. I can't remember which it is. That may be what you're talking about, because it was made by somebody else and sold.
It's got a clip. That
micro
groove has got a clip,
right?
Like a 10-shot clip.
That I've seen those too, and Phil and I kind of
magazine
co-opted a Stevens Target 22 that was military. It was a training rifle, is what it was, and they made everybody. Remington made them for the military. Stevens made them. Savage. I think they were several brands, and they had I think they were a 10-shot magazine, and they would shoot shorts, longs, or long rifles. That's what I want. I want something that'll shoot all three. I don't really like to have. I don't really want a semi-automatic or something. I won't shoot anything but long rifles because I like to hunt with targets. I'm with shorts. I mean, and but it's heavy and it's got a bull barrel and it's just, man, it's a tack driver. But I don't know if I want to lug it through the woods because it weighs a few pounds. Plus they come fitted with peep sights, and again, I don't think that'll work. I don't think I'll be able to see what I'm shooting at because you know how it is in the woods. It gets dark, or it's not dark, but shadows from the leaves. You can't always see clearly. Light changes, and so I'd like to get something. I'm going to have to put a scope on it. I've got a scope over here I can put on it. I just got to get something that's either already drilled and tapped to accept it, or grooved and to take a 22 type scope mount or something. John said he had a Ruger 1022 with a leap hole scope on it. Gave it to his brother. Man, those are sweet little rifles, John.
Oh yeah, that's a good little rifle.
What's wrong with that? I mean, I just like to shoot shorts sometimes in mine, and you can't shoot shorts in those. But man, the 1022 is another excellent option. And I believe they are all drilled and tapped.
What you need is some neighbors that got some squirrel woods not too far away.
Oh, I think I'm okay there. I think I can do that.
And a beat up old wheeler with 4 wheels and a scope 22 and go sit down in the woods somewhere and shoot squirrels.
Oh, I'm planning on it. That's sort of the game plan.
That's how Grandpa, my grandfather, would drive a daggone Massey Harris tractor up on the hill.
Go squirrel hunting.
And go and take his rifle and go sit under a tree, and he'd sit there all day and kill squirrels. And he always had killed squirrels, always.
Well, this has happened since you left here, I think, because I didn't know about it because I hadn't paid that much attention to regulations lately. But we have a spring squirrel season now.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see here. I've got the book. I got the Bible about it here, right here. Yeah, I've meant something else I meant to tell you about. I was telling you about the how you could get a license because you were born here, which I think is really cool. Not just because that'd be, just because I want you to come.
I had no idea that was a rule, but that's a pretty cool rule.
Yeah, me either until I started reading up on it.
I could go to Tennessee and buy a resident Tennessee hunting license because I was born in Tennessee.
Yep. I can't remember what they call it.
That's a pretty cool rule.
Yeah, I didn't know they did that. That's, I think, fairly new. I don't know what year they started it, but I'm gonna see if I can find that spring season. Hey, look here, they got turtles listed in the Game and Fish book now. Oh, you got it. Oh,
there's probably limits and size limits and everything.
Yeah, they got to be at least 12 inches across
from across or the length.
Front to back.
Front to back.
So that's not terribly big turtle. I mean, that's not the kind that'd pull you out of the boat. It's getting close, maybe, but
yeah, but I mean the real productive ones are the big ones. They should you're allowed 8 of them smaller ones and 0 great old big ones. Is that alligator snappers or
well, they got alligators listed in here. Let me see what they say about them. Tennessee Wildlife Resources is conducting an alligator snapping turtle restoration project in West Tennessee, which involves the release of live alligator snapping turtles. Alligator snapping turtles are listed in Tennessee as state threatened and are illegal to take now. But we don't have them up here, they're just in the West. That's interesting. I didn't know that's good.
Wonder if they're getting their turtles from Arkansas. We were eat up with them.
Possibly. I could. I mean, I'm sure they're close enough. I'm sure even the people that like to put things in blenders and then tell you they're not the same couldn't argue with that too much because they're not too far apart. And you could certainly get from one place to the other if you were an ambitious snapping turtle. There's the roadkill law.
Huh.
There was another rule that had to, the snapping turtle made me think of it. There was something else I was going to tell you about that I'd read that was new or different that I didn't know that they were. Oh, there's a like a full page in here somewhere. I'd have to find it about two. There's a story in here about bait bucket Charlie problem we've got now. People are going into I think it's Alabama, and there's something now called an Alabama bass. It's another hybrid that's crossed between I think it's a cross between a Kentucky, maybe cross between a Kentucky bass and a smallmouth, and they're trying to prevent that. They don't want that happening here because they will. What's the right word here? They'll interbreed and spread. They're diluting the gene pool terribly because they'll do it on their own, and there's that. They're talking about that in here, and I hadn't heard about that. And there's also an ad in here about. Hey, I call them bait bucket Charlies because of you, but they're in this case they're probably pickup truck Charlies because they're hauling wild hogs around and dumping them off, and they're really going after those guys. There's ads in here talking about if you find somebody doing that, that's illegal and it's against the law, and we're gonna come get them because we're tired of that. We're tired of telling people not to do that.
Well, and that's the deal is they need to, to get people to quit doing foolish things like that.
Yeah.
The carrot does not work. You just gotta whack them with the stick. And that needs to hit their wallet. And
that's the thing. You got to get them where it hurts. That's money. If you can make them pay for it, make them pay enough.
A lot of these people are people that just, they got money anyway. They have money. They got money. Good God, that was good English. They have money.
Here's one of the posters they're putting out about it.
Is that 35? Oh, 3,500. Yeah,
that's the reward.
That's the reward
for turning in somebody.
If you see somebody that's hog.
Yeah. If you see somebody, call somebody. So if you give information to the state that leads to the arrest and conviction of somebody that's moving wild game around, it's a $3,500 little bonus to your pocketbook. And I thought that was interesting because some people will do that too. If you can give them a little bit of money, they'll turn somebody in.
Well, some of them might be some of their competitors.
Well, that's true too.
Old Charlie down the road here, he's been dealing in hogs.
I've seen him. I know it's him. Okay, our squirrel season is August 23rd to March 15th, so it's all winter anyway. And then it opens back up in May 9th to June 14th.
Really?
Yep. Of course,
So when you're out when you're out there turkey and mushroom hunting, you could hunt a squirrel too.
you can tote your rifle along or your bow and arrow, whichever you choose, and you can hunt squirrels while you're at it. And what would be better than mushrooms and squirrel gravy?
Oh my God.
Think about that for a minute. Okay, here's
Well, Thanksgiving, I just put 10 of those pounds right back on me.
here's the thing about the bass. And we're starting to get the silver carp up here. They've found them a few as far up as in Chickamauga, and I don't know if we've got them up to.
Seriously?
Yeah, I don't think they've got here yet, but they have found some, which is pretty good ways up the Tennessee River, to get to Chickamauga. That's the thing.
Now they need to go far away, but I'm afraid we got a problem with them in some places forever. But
I don't know if we'll ever.
I can't imagine a more exciting bow fishing trip than driving your boat up through their school and they start jumping out of the water. Those silver carp do. They're just like flying through the air like a tarpon.
See if you can hit them in
the air. Swack them in the air with your bow.
Well, that might be fun.
It'd at least be fun. I guess they. I watched a show where they were, they pride themselves on basically at least trying everything that they've ever harvested. Up to and including like coyote and things like that. And they killed a bunch of those silver carp and filleted them up and cooked them and decided that there is an animal on the planet that is inedible.
That's interesting.
And these dummies have like eaten coyotes and things. I'm like, you're nuts. I've skinned coyotes. They don't smell nice.
No. Here it is, right here. I'm gonna make sure I got
like smacking fish with a bow.
Famous old saying. Well, we would do that. You got to understand, Ian, that's the kind of thing we would do. We just didn't have the opportunity.
We would have invented it if
we would have invented it.
We invented bow fishing. Didn't know that people actually did it.
Much less that you could buy equipment to do it with.
We just let's take an arrow. Let's take an arrow and like file some notches in a broadhead. And
drill hole, put some line through it. If that don't work, try to do it this way. So here's that rule change. Native Tennessean. That's what you would be called. Non-residents, which is you, who were born in Tennessee, may apply for Native Tennessean annual licenses. These licenses provide non-residents born in the state but no longer residing in the state the opportunity to purchase annual Tennessee hunting and fishing and trapping licenses at the same cost as residents. And they're available by application. You probably got to get them online. You wouldn't walk into a Walmart and get one, I guess, but you can get them. So you can come back here and hunt on the
As a
same.
red, as
I'll
a
have to find
and
on-
it'll cost me the same as it'd cost you.
Yep, sure would. I think that's cool. I like that a lot. I wish everybody,
That is a great.
every state ought to have something like that.
And some states like bend over backwards for veterans.
Uh-huh.
You know, give them special benefits for costs, etc. And I think that ought to be mandatory across the United States of America.
Yeah, I can't remember how they do that here, but I can't remember how they do it. What or exactly
Yeah.
what the
Out here, you got to be so much disabled, and I just think like if you served, you should get a special rate license that's cheaper than like a regular non-resident.
yeah, because
You
I
know,
think
we might increase recruitment just because of that.
absolutely. Yeah, you know, now that you mention it, a lot of states do, if you're active duty, a lot of states do offer something, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, and it's only while you're in. It's only while you're in. Once you get out, it all changes or goes away. In most cases, I think. So yeah, I don't disagree there that might ought to be a permanent situation. So I don't know how every state does it. I think that's part of the problem. Every state does it different. So maybe a national version of how this is how it should be done. I was looking to see if I could find that in Tennessee's rules. I hadn't found it yet.
I doubt you will. You probably have.
Well, there's something in here about it. I've read it before, but I can't remember what they listed under. Not there. I'll find it. It is in here. I mean, they do something. I just don't remember how they do it. And it's not. I actually read it once and I thought, well, that's good. And then I read it again. And I thought, maybe not. That's got a lot of restrictions on it. So I'm not sure it's as cut and dried as it probably ought to be. But it's in here somewhere because I do know they address it, or they used to anyway. I hadn't bought a license in a couple of years, so things have changed. But that native Tennessean thing is something I don't know when that went into effect, but last time I looked through a book that few years ago, that wasn't in there. So it's been within the last 5 or 6 years, I think. But I think I think they'll sell more licenses that way, which is the whole point. I mean, anyway. Oh, me. How you feeling? You've been on here for almost 2 hours. Are you wore plumb out?
No,
Good.
I will be this afternoon, but you
can sleep during one of the boring football games. If there is.
I was kind of sad this morning. I got up and I'm like, well, it's Saturday, so the National Football League's not playing today. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, yeah.
And I actually get to see my Bills play, which will be good. Because we have been missing anytime they go to the Southeast, we don't get that coverage here.
What do you mean Southeast? Southern?
Well, if they go to like the Panthers or the Jaguars or somebody like that, we just don't get the broadcast.
Okay, Carol, good luck on the game today. I'm not taking sides. I'm trying to remain a neutral party in that. Not that Mark really cares, but just in you know, in honor of his
Oh,
aunt.
I'd say go Michigan.
You have a great weekend, Carol. Thanks for stopping by. I wasn't sure if people would be here today or if everybody'd be out and going traveling, so that's why. And then I had my days off because Jen and Brian showed up yesterday, so I was thinking yesterday was Thursday, and then I realized last night, oh wait, this ain't Thursday, it's Friday. So I had to just grab.
Kelly's coming up today, did you say?
Kelly is, and I don't know what.
And bringing
Brenda, have you talked to? I start saying, have you talked to Carol today? Brenda, have you talked to Kelly today? Oh, I know they're not going to be up here till this afternoon. They've got to go to his mom's first, who lives down the road here. His mom lives about 10 miles down the road from us, 10 or 12 miles, and probably about 10 as the crow flies. She lives down around Bean Station, which isn't very far from here.
Really?
Yeah, and now they're from Wisconsin originally. Brad's from Wisconsin, and so I'm not sure how his mother ended up being stationed, but that's where they are.
Huh.
I mean, that's just because Bean Station is not industrial complex of the earth. You know, it's not like everybody and their brother comes to Bean Station. At least not anymore. Maybe
Don't
17.
they still have a farm or something up there in Wisconsin? Wasn't Kelly picking up popsicles or something while she was up there?
Oh, well, now, yeah, I think so, because she was collecting critters while she was up there. She had a big sale here a while back. I don't know if I've talked to you since then or not. Since then, there was a Renaissance Fair festival not far from here. Again, it wasn't too far from our house. A little ways, 20 miles maybe. But she came up to that and set up, I think, had a really big show. She's actually doing pretty good with that. There's a lot of people out there that like that morbid and macabre kind of art and things these days. I figure it's the same kind of people that think Jack Skellington's a great thing for Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
People that like that, I think they probably like,
Edward Scissorhands or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I suspect. But let's see. Yes, Brad's father. Brad's father owns a big farm. He inherited it and then it's going to be Brad's. Well, we need to talk about that. Maybe we need to find out if he's got room to.
I just wonder if there's a big old whitetail buck hanging out there.
That's what I'm thinking. There's some big old deer up there. I'd be more than happy to go check that out.
Or a ruffled grouse.
Or that either. Yeah, that'd be ruffled grouse. I don't guess they got any other species up there. Well, they might have. Yeah, they could have blue.
Oh, it's a sportsman's paradise, dude.
Well, I know we saw.
I mean, they got good hunting and fishing and trapping.
Man might go up there and learn a decent trade.
Exactly. I think my grandson, I'm not sure where they went. They were sitting down here at the end of the table. I couldn't hear myself think, but they're gone. But their dogs are still here, so I think they're pulling. Sammy put out a little trap line while they were up here.
Oh yeah, you said something about that
for the holidays, and every time, I only went one time. I walked down there with them and walked the part of the line, and we saw muskrats swimming and no rats in the traps. And we had an old. I had the best joke I thought ever. He had a set out at the end of his line, and half in the water kind of conibear set,
Yeah.
and we lost an old hen
Oh yeah.
to old age. And I was going to stick her in that conibear like she'd swam out the river.
Like she swam in there. I love you should have done that. I loved to have seen the reaction.
And my wife was like, "You can't do that to poor Samuel." And she doesn't like the fact that we're trapping creatures on the property here. And I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. I got this dead chicken I can like set this trap off with, and it can't catch anything then. And it'll be funny.
And it'll be funny. But that's not, you don't want that to happen.
And she goes, oh, that's right. I don't want.
Well, that tells me she's not that convicted in her feelings.
But at that point, the chicken was already floating down the river. Got its burial at sea.
That's too bad. I'd love to find that one.
Caitlin put that chicken in the river, and I said, "Fair winds and following seas, girl."
And off she went.
And off she went. And the
Up
crayfish
downstream had a good meal out of that chicken, though.
it makes the crayfish love us.
Did I tell you I had some crawfish etouffee in my refrigerator? Or actually, it's in the freezer. I didn't get it. Mark Bryan brought some up for me to try yesterday. He picked crawfish etouffee for Thanksgiving.
I love it.
For their meal. So I guess I'll heat it up and give her a shot here.
Well, Shauna we'll peel the extra tails when we do a big boil. And Shauna makes this dip for crackers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, is it good?
What does she do with it? Just boil the tails to get the...
No, they're already done. They done been through
the tails. Okay, you're talking about the innards you eat, not just the shell.
No, I'm talking about the tail on the crayfish.
I got you.
You peel it out of its armor, and then you use that as the meat.
I bet that is good.
It's really good.
The reason I was thinking I had shell on my brain is there are some people who, when they do crab bowls or crawfish bowls, excuse me, they throw the shells in a pile, and then they kind of collect them and they cook them down literally and create a barbecue sauce out with it that they use for like shrimp, they do it with shrimp anyway. They make shrimp like shrimp and rice. I used to have a recipe that was for shrimp and rice. Yeah, shrimp and rice. No, shrimp and grits, excuse me. But the flavoring and the sauce they used that mixed in with it was created by cooking down the shells after they'd been boiled and picked and eat like that. Because apparently there's enough stuff in them that, of course, you probably get a lot of seasoning out of them, if nothing else, after that, because of what you got in the bath anyway. But anyway, what Brenda saying? Dog.
What?
Oh, she's saying you said that everybody's missing from the table. She said they might be out playing with the little porcupine. As that kid says, I want to pet that dog. I want to pet that dog. I can't remember what dog he was trying to pet, though. Was it a porcupine?
It was probably a skunk.
Might have been. Well, I'm going to shut this show down today, guys.
All righty.
Thanks for making it. If you're gonna be here next week, we'll do that. I'll show you what I'm talking about, the copper age stuff. I think
Okay.
I think it'll be a good show. I think. So some of it, I mean, it's fascinating to learn how they worked copper long before they knew how to smelt and do all the stuff that they eventually
Yeah,
learned.
they just used it raw.
Yeah, but it has to be a certain kind, and it just so
No,
happens
it has to be pure, the
Has to
pure
be
stuff.
copper. Yeah, and they actually they work it cold, and then they anneal it and work it cold, and apparently the more you do that, the harder it actually gets, to the point where it actually will hold an edge to a degree.
Yeah.
Probably better than bronze did. At least that's what I'm thinking. So anyway, I'll show you. It's pretty cool, and it all centered around
The Great Lakes.
the Great Lakes and that trade, and then of course it spread all over the country. They traded that stuff everywhere.
Well, and they think that, like, you know, where Elizabeth Dare, the first child born, first
English
white child born in North America, you know, that were from the Roanoke colony. They think that those people had the people to the west, and I don't remember which bunch it was, also had not hidden, I mean, they found pits of it. They had copper mines.
Oh yeah, yes.
Right there on that east slope of the Appalachians, and but I don't know how pure it was.
I have read about that. In fact, yes. In fact, there's some areas in the Northeast where they have found some old copper pits that were dug, they think maybe by Vikings during their time here, and maybe 1,500, almost 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, cool.
So and that was the same idea, that they found places where dug, but apparently because of some geological anomaly that happened in the Great Lake area, during a volcanic period or plate or something, it really melted and squoze and heated up and sent raw copper to the surface. And apparently it's like in bands, just kind of like gold you might see, but thicker and bigger. And that's what they were using. And they didn't have
the good stuff.
good stuff. They didn't have to smelt it down and clean it up and make it copper. It already was right there, the stuff. So anyway, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
All right.
Folk are moving.
What?
Folks are getting restless for football.
Yeah, it's time to go watch football. So anyhow, she'll be at her house at 3:00. She said, "Okay, all right. You take care, my brother. Good to see you."
Good to see everybody, and I will see you next time.
Yes, you will. All right, we'll talk this week.
Later on.
Don't go play with that porcupine. See ya.
Later.
Love you, man.